All right, everyone. Welcome back. We're excited to be here for week 3 edition of the 2021 season of the BSB Podcast. I'm Sean Kaus.
I'm Tony James.
We're your betting strategy brothers. For those of you new, our views have been going up, so that's great. But those of you that are new, just know that we are teachers by trade. So we're here to teach and we're here to help. We'll teach you some strategies, why you bet this way, what to look for, and help you understand kind of what kind of betting is what, because it can be intimidating going to the window. Even on your phone, you're not going to the window. You know, Arizona, it's legal now. You can look at your phone and go, I don't know what the hell that means. And so we're here to help. We're just trying to give you insights, trying to make you feel more comfortable with betting, trying to get all of Vegas's money. We don't guarantee any predictions. This is purely for entertainment, but we are trying to help you. So no matter what you decide with our picks and how we go, hopefully we at least give you the confidence to make a parlay bet or a teaser or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I went to the window, I was scared shitless, because I didn't know what I was doing. But, there's always the first time and the second time. And then after you get used to it and know what you're doing, then when you're surrounded by good people who are helping you and not trying to take your money, that's certainly important. And I had my best buddy, Eric, was helping me out and telling me what to do. So I appreciated that very much. So yeah, you're totally right. We're just here to help you out. And, you can take our picks, you can fade our picks, you can, but we want you to have some fun. Let's make some money. And you know what? With our sports and our bets, one thing that never fails, Cows, is our flavors of the week.
Yes, sir. Always about the flavors of the week.
So today I've got another local brew from Pizza Port Brewing Company in Carlsbad. It's called California Honey Blonde Ale. I'm not much of a honey blonde guy, but this is actually really, really crisp, really refreshing. It rained a little bit here today, so I'm having one of these. It tastes really good, kind of fits the mood. It's pretty light, and I have a couple of 9 a.m. games that we'll get into later on, so I want to make sure that I'm up and ready to go for those. And this is going to be perfect and put me right to sleep, but then I'll be up right away and ready to watch football tomorrow.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. I don't have 9 o'clock games, so I can just keep drinking pretty hard. And what I'm drinking is a seasonal favorite. Once again, I've had this on last year. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The Burr months are my favorite months. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons is the good old Sam Adams Oktoberfest. And you know what? Yes. Sam Adams, sellout, whatever. Dude, they make a great Oktoberfest. I love Oktoberfest by them. It's one of my favorites of all time. Mm-hmm. I try to fill up my fridge with a couple of cases as soon as it comes out, and it'll last me a little bit.
Well, yeah, they're super good. They're super good. I like to have it. And you know what? It's filling up your fridge early with that is a really good idea, because, you get into January and you're like, oh, what a surprise. I have an Oktoberfest. And, they hold pretty well, and they're really good in January. I'll just tell you that.
Yes, they are. And I think that's part of the allure to them is they only have it for certain times. It's only open for sale at certain times. So that makes it even better.
For sure. Okay. Hey, let's do an update from last week. What did you calculate for us?
All right. So last week we both lost on Cincy. We called it right as far as how they were gonna but we thought they'd win. Okay. Mm-hmm. A lot of people had them down in the dumpster. They weren't going to do anything. They almost won that game. They didn't. So I lost my straight bet. You lost your straight bet, but I did hit a parlay, and I hit a big one. I hit Denver, the Rams, and Green Bay, Detroit over 40 and 8.5. So I got my 33. I bet back plus the 100 I won. So it was a nice big 133. That covered my bets for the week. So cool. that was a big one. Well, a little bit under. I forgot last week I went over 100 when I bet, so it was pretty close. Almost broke even there. But freaking Atlanta, god damn it, they lost me my teaser. Buffalo, Saints, Carolina under 50.5. Philly, Vegas, Cincy, Minnesota, all win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams all win, and fucking Atlanta can't cover 18.5 points. God damn it! So I lost my teaser there.
Yep.
And then, my college one was terrible. Not to mention my college. It's not a teaser, but my college bet tonight on Fresno State looks terrible. And then I did also hit my prop bet of Josh Allen throwing over 1.5 TD passes. He got 2 of them. So I got my 25 back, plus I got for my 10 on that. But Denver didn't score 24.5 by 1.5 freaking points. And so I lost that, and I lost. Carson did not run the ball very well in Seattle at all. Against Tennessee, he didn't do well at all. So I lost that bet as well. But when all is said and done, I ended up with $320 when I went in with 342. So I really only lost $22.
Yeah, that was a pretty good. I mean, for the volume that you did, that's a pretty good week, I think. And I always look at it like this, man. If I can go to the casino and I don't go to the ATM again, I go once and that's the only time I have to go, I think that's successful. And I think that you totally did that this time. Cost you $22 this week. That's pretty good.
It's a good weekend.
Yeah, I lost on Cincinnati. My Oklahoma, Colorado Big 8 Classic parlay was a disaster. Colorado just was. I thought Colorado was going to play decent and inspired after losing to Texas A&M by 3 points, and they just crapped the bed. But I did hit with UCLA over. I did hit with BYU. I told you that was the way to go. I lost my teaser because of the Saints. Just the Saints. Yeah, we're going to talk later, man. But, the Jameis Winston honeymoon is fucking over. And then I lost my teaser in the afternoon with Seattle and the Chargers. So I also lost because of the Falcons with the Atlanta Tampa Bay pick six-a-thon at the end. I had Tampa Bay winning by 13-18, which was looking really good until Matt Ryan threw touchdowns to the other team. And I lost my New England prop by 7-12 because, well, the Jets couldn't score. So that was that. But I was super like there's a lot of losing in there, but there's also a lot of like good picks that were in there that I'm going to use this week and hopefully learn my lesson.
Well, and I mean, you only ended up down $37. So I mean, when all was said and done, once again, a great week. Dude, I have to just hang my head in shame at ASU. I dog in U of A, and God, I hope they lose every game. But I felt like a U of A fan after the way they played at BYU. They looked terrible. They were horrible. You called that. Props to you. Sucks to be ASU.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where I just thought that the circumstances were right. I think BYU is a lot better than people think, even without Zach. I think they're a lot better than people are giving them credit for. But we'll find out, man. We'll find out as the season goes along. They have a good test in the next couple of weeks, so we'll see how that goes.
I agree. So going into this week, I'm starting with 320 plus the extra 100 we get every week. That we budgeted for ourselves every week. So I'm starting with 420. You're starting with 413. And once again, I'm not going to bet at all. I know you're not going to bet at all. We're going to save it. But our goal is to be up that much. And you know what? Being up 420 3 weeks in, I'm good with that, even with getting 100 a week.
Same, man. Same. I mean, it's 2 weeks down. And so, we're looking good. So let's lead off. Let's start this game. I think you got a couple of straight picks that are kind of fun this week.
Yeah, so I got my Bills started off. I'm taking them -7. I'm not taking them on the money line just because it's too much money. They're going to smoke Washington. I actually put them in a pleaser bet that we may or may not get to later. But I did. They're going to smoke Washington. Their defense is too good. Heineke is not. I mean, he looked good against New York. Like, the Giants aren't that good, and he looked good against them and barely won that game. He's not going to do it against Buffalo. Josh Allen is poised to get back to last season. He went from a really bad game 1 to a mediocre game 2, even though they won like 90-0, 35-0. But he is poised to get back to last season's form. He's getting there, and I think he's going to get there against Washington, even though Washington does have a good D, and their D has not woken up yet this year. Even if they wake up against Buffalo, it's not going to matter, especially after Buffalo got the run game going last week. So my 40 is going to win me 34 on Buffalo -7. Once again, I'm not taking that on the money line because it was like 40 to win $4.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I think they're going to win by 7. So I'm going to take that. And then I'm going to take Green Bay on the money line only because it's 20 to win 28. Now, Green Bay is the dog going into San Francisco. They are on a short week, even though it's Sunday night, so that helps. But here's where I'm going with it. San Francisco barely beat Detroit, and granted it was week 1, but they barely beat Detroit. They barely beat Philadelphia. And that's not a knock on Philly. I think Philly's decent, but they're not good. I think Green Bay is better than both those teams. In San Francisco, traditionally under Shanahan, they've stayed back east, and they've won those games when they stayed back east. But the home game after is always a letdown game. They always do terrible. They won like a 6 turnover game once, barely hung on to win, and then they got their ass whipped the next time. So I think Green Bay comes in. Green Bay's too good. They're better. And I mean, Jimmy G has looked phenomenal. And I think that has to do in part with who they've played. So I'm taking Green Bay on the money line. And once again, I'm taking them on the money line because I think they're going to win that game outright. And since Green Bay is the underdog, that gives me more money for my money. So I'm going to bet 20 to win 28.
I can't argue with either one of those, Cows. I really like. I think Buffalo had their wake up call in week 1. You saw the result last week. I think they steamrolled Washington as well. I was actually surprised. We were talking before we started recording. I was surprised at how Washington's defense was really good last year, like really good. And this year, not so much right now. So that's kind of a little bit of a concern for me. And San Francisco, it's their home opener. It's Sunday night. But like you said, they barely escaped at Detroit in a game that they were leading by a lot, for most of the game.
Yeah, they were.
It was almost just like they just folded up and yeah, well, we're done here. And Detroit was, 25 yards away from tying the game. I thought San Francisco struggled last week against Philadelphia. Yeah, Philadelphia's improved, but wasn't really the effort I was looking for. At plus 140, man, that's a really good value pick too, because you have a consistent winner in the regular season in Green Bay. They always seem to play San Francisco well. I like that pick, man. I think that's going to be a winner for you. And I really like the strategy of taking it on the money line in this case.
Well, and two, with Green Bay, you almost look at it as it was week 1. It almost same thing. Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen look almost mirror images of each other. Week 1, they were terrible. Week 2, they were mediocre, and they both had really good wins in week 2. And now week 3, they're both going to take a next step and just turn back to their dominant selves. The MVP and the runner-up. I mean, that's basically what I'm betting on here.
Yeah. Actually, I said that they played them very well. The Packers have gotten blown out 2 of the last 3 times in San Francisco. I should mention that.
I was gonna blow past that when you said that because that made my bet look bad. But
but last year Green Bay took it to San Francisco in San Francisco, so that's good news.
I agree. So your straight pick, you're going with an over here, okay?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just gonna pound the heck out of this until it tells me no. I'm taking the Chiefs and the Chargers over 54 on Sunday. I'm going to bet $44 on it to win 40. So I'm getting it at minus 110. But that Kansas City team, they lost last week, but they still put up 36 in a loss.
And allowed 37.
And allowed 37. Yeah, it's like one of those things. I really their offense is very, very good. It strikes quickly. I had the over last week in a separate bet that came through. I think that this game goes over as well. You got 2 dynamic quarterbacks in Mahomes and Herbert. The only thing that I could see slowing it down a little bit is the Chargers don't have nearly as many weapons as the Chiefs do. But that being said, Mahomes and Herbert are 4 and 5 in passing in the league right now. I just think this game spells over. I could see this game being 35-31. Yes, Kansas City's at home. The Chargers are traveling, but I see this thing as just flying over the total here.
Dude, you nailed this game, and I actually think the Chargers have a good shot to win this game. I understand they're not Baltimore, but Herbert threw for 300 yards each game, over 300 yards each game against Kansas City last year. 4 TDs, 1 interception. That leads to points. Okay, I understand Mahomes is 16-2 in divisional starts. So it's going to be hard for them to win, but I think it's going to be a really close game, and I think it's going to be a shootout. Both defenses are, I don't want to say terrible. They are both terrible against the run. They're both terrible against the run, but they're not great defenses overall. And the over's covered the last 3 games with these two. So I think that's a lock. Like, to me, I'm like, man, I wish I would have jumped on that. I got to jump on that and get it. You might see a live bet on Twitter going on there.
Yeah, I really think this is a really good shot of going over. So,
well, yeah, especially with Bosa might be out too. I mean,
oh yeah, anybody who's out on the defense, that just if I was Mahomes and I saw that, my eyes would light up like a bloody Christmas tree.
I agree. All right, so those are our straight picks this week. Now we're going to go to our parlays. And once again, a parlay is when you put more than one action bet together. It doesn't necessarily have to be a game. It could be over and then a game. It could be money line and spread. But put them together to increase your odds. All of them have to hit. If just one loses, like my teaser last week, they all lose. So I'm starting with my Bills. And I actually, Tony, I'm taking your strategy of going AM, PM. I did an AM parlay and a PM parlay. I'm trying it out. See if I can do it. I said I've wanted to do it, and I forced myself to do it this week. So I'm taking my Bills. Yay, go Bills. That's right. I'm taking them on the money line. Remember, on my straight bet, I didn't take them on the money line because it was too much money. But if I put that in a parlay, now my odds go up, and it's worth it. I'm putting Arizona. Arizona is going
to Jacksonville.
To absolutely demolish Jacksonville. And I don't care that it's on the East Coast. I don't care Arizona, East Coast. I get it. But it's not even that game is going to be, I mean, it's only 7.5 point spread, and I think they're going to cover 90. Jacksonville's lost 17 straight. Like, I know they ain't going to start against Arizona. And guys, you know me. If you've been watching the show, you know I'm not the biggest Arizona fan of all, but they're going to whop them. And then I'm actually going with an underdog. And the reason I'm putting an underdog in the parlay, and I'm still doing it on the money line, is because I want bigger odds. And this is going to help my odds. If I had all 3 as the favors, my odds aren't as good. But now if I put a slight underdog in there, I'm getting plus money on the underdog, which raises the value of my bet. And I'm taking Cincinnati. Okay. Cincinnati is going to Pittsburgh. It's at Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger's 24-8 against Cincy, but he's hurt. That means right now he's going to start, but if he gets hurt, you got Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins going in, and it doesn't look good for them. And even with Ben in, Pittsburgh has not looked good. Yeah, they won against Buffalo, but they didn't look good. Their defense won that game, not their offense. They won, and well, special teams too with that punt return or punt block for a touchdown. And then you got Vegas, who just demolished them. Like, they have not looked good. If they can get Najee Harris going, it's going to be tough for Cincinnati to win that game. But I think Cincinnati wins that game outright. And I mean, Joe Burrow is definitely underrated this year for what he's come back from injury after being he wins. So my 30 wins me 87.
Yeah, that's a really good. That Cincinnati game is very, very interesting because of the reasons you said. Pittsburgh has not looked great. I think they overplayed or played up, I should say, against Buffalo. I think last week the Raiders just took it to them, pretty much beat them at their own game. So I think Cincinnati has a great shot. I love your strategy of taking Cincinnati on the money line here. I think that's a great way to get some value and a great way to get some plus money in there. I agree with you with Arizona. I think that Jacksonville's just not they're just no good. I think they have all the potential in the world right now, but they're just not good. And then Buffalo, yeah, I think they win that game. And taking them on the money line, like you said, that's a good strategy, because if they win, even though they're favored by 7, if they win by 1, you're a winner. And so that's a wonderful way to get some value there.
Well, let's hope they win by more than 7 so I can win my straight pick too.
There you go. That's good. How about 8? We'll take 8.
Yeah, there you go. I'm in. So my PM one,
yes,
I'm taking Denver on the money line. I'm taking the Rams. I'm taking your Vegas Raiders. Once again, it's not as big a bet, but it's still 20 to win 53. Look, Denver's hot right now, and they're playing the Jets. I mean, the Jets are awful. They got. I love Robert Saleh. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be good for that organization. They're putting too much on
Zach.
They're putting too much on Zach. They like when you look at what Jones is doing in New England, they're giving him parts of the playbook and saying, "Be good." You know, it's what they say. Either you're the jack of all trades but king of none. Like it's kind of what that is. They're making Jones the king of these 4 little plays, and they're running it. Whereas they're trying to make Zach the jack of all trades, and he can't. Like, it's too much. So it's not Saleh's fault. He's a defensive minded coach. So I put that against him. But Denver, I mean, Bridgewater's he's finding new life, almost like Tyrod Taylor was, but before he got injured. But I mean, they're finding new life. So I think Denver's on a tear, even with Chubb being out. I mean, you've seen Von Miller come back and be destructive. Like, I don't think the Jets even come close in that game. But I am taking them on the money line. Why take the chance? But that lowers my odds. The Rams are where I'm getting a little money on them. Not a lot, because it's only a 1-point spread, so they're only plus 106. But I think they beat Tampa Bay. I think they beat the Bucs. The Bucs have looked good. They beat the crap out of Atlanta, but they've still been sloppy. And I think the Rams, McVay now has the quarterback he wanted. Not that he didn't love Goff, but I think he just sees so much more potential in Stafford. And even Aaron's the famous line, "I lie really good." I don't think he's lying when he says he thinks Stafford's one of the greatest quarterbacks and what he can do. And we've seen it. That's why we said he's pad to Stafford. Many years we've said that. And last year on the season, you saw us say that. But now he's on a team where he's not just padding the stats. He's winning games. And he's winning them convincingly. He has that team. He has that coaching staff to do it. So I love the Rams. And your Raiders, this game scares me. And we talked about it before. This game scares me only because the spread is so small. The spread is only 3.5 right now. It was 4. It's teetered 4.5 to 3.5. I think the Raiders are so much better team than Miami. I know Derek Carr is questionable. Now, if you put Peterman in, this is a whole different conversation. But
yes, I agree.
But a Brissett, okay. Brissett is 11-19 with the worst quarterback rating in yards per attempt in the past 5 seasons. He's basically the worst quarterback in the past 5 seasons. So it's another way to say, like, I don't get why they're only 3-point favorites. When they beat Baltimore, they beat the shit out of Pittsburgh. Like, I'm not putting Vegas on the Super Bowl pedestal yet. I'm putting them on a playoff. I'm putting them winning first round. Like, I'm putting them in places. Which is why I don't get the spread. I don't know what Vegas knows that I don't. And I understand Miami has a good defense and they have a good secondary, but I don't see it, and that scares me a little bit. But I just can't get over the fact that I think Vegas is going to win this game. Like, I can't get that out of my head. No matter what I do, no matter how I go about it, it does scare me that the spread is so small. But there's nothing I can do to take it away. That's why I only put Vegas on the money line, and I didn't take them with points.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit too, man. That 3.5 is just really weird. I mean, it's you basically get 3 for hosting a game. So, or you're giving up 3 for hosting a game. So,
correct.
Like you mentioned before, they've almost have this as a pick. Yeah, I mean, I like the value pick with the Rams getting a little bit of plus money. Denver should win that game. It's one of those things where you never know which Jet defense is going to show up. Is it going to be the one against Carolina where it gave them a chance to win? Or is it going to be like the one last week where they're just on the field so much that they just get tired out and can't do anything? They can. they kept the Jets in it, yeah, but I mean at 26-9 or whatever it was, like, are you really keeping them in it? Especially when Zach Wilson is throwing picks like it's bodily function. So, yeah, man, I really love your parlay, your PM parlay this week. Really like it.
Thank you, sir. So what do you got going on? You got a little college parlay going on over there?
Yeah, man. I went. I did a little more morning action. These are both 9 a.m. games, which is really weird for the Mountain West. They don't get many 9 a.m. home games, but I took Utah State +9 against Boise State and Wisconsin on the money line against Notre Dame. I just don't think Boise is that great this year. They lost last week. They should have won, and they lost. They even with the bad officiating notwithstanding, you miss a bunny field goal at the end. I mean, that shouldn't happen. I mean, granted, they played for a field goal. When you play for field goals at the end of the game, you usually lose, but they had a chance to win. They're 1-2. They're not that great. Utah State at home, I really, really like them, especially with this goofy kickoff time of 10 a.m. local. I think Utah State covers that 9. And Wisconsin on the money line. Look, Notre Dame is an absolute freaking fraud. They beat Toledo by 3 points. They beat a bad Florida State team in overtime. This fascination with the Golden Domers has just got to end. They're ranked 12th in the country, and they're just useless. I think they're going to Wisconsin, and I think they get blown out.
Okay, I think Wisconsin is a better team, and I agree with you there. But last week's win, man, I was on your train there, and then last week, I mean, it wasn't a great win, but it was still a win against a team they had a chance to lose to. So I do think Wisconsin wins, and I agree with you. But I'm last week convinced me not to be as down on them as I was.
Oh, the game against Purdue.
Yeah, because I thought Purdue walked away. Look, Purdue is. I mean, they're a good team. They're not right, but I thought I thought that was going to show them. That was going to show their true colors. And when they won, I go, okay. Maybe they're a little better than I give them credit for. I agree with you. I still think Wisconsin win this game, but I think it's going to be closer than everybody thinks.
I don't know how many times that we've seen it in the past, say 15, 20 years that Notre Dame gets all this hype and all their games are on NBC and blah, 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 blah. And they go to the playoff and they just crap themselves. And it's like, it's gotta be, being a Notre Dame football fan is just gotta be one of the worst things that ever happens to you in your life, because you sit here and you're like, oh yeah, we're number 5 in the nation and blah, 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 blah. And oh, we just got punked and that's the end of our season because we're crap. It's just, I don't see it. Their schedule is usually a mix of kind of good teams 20 years ago and kind of bullcrap teams now. I thought last year, though, Notre Dame really, I'm going to give them a little bit of credit here. Playing all the ACC teams last year was a really good strategy for Notre Dame. But then, like, you got this year, Toledo, Florida State, and Purdue. That doesn't move the needle for me. You're not 12th.
Yeah, Purdue helps a little bit, but not a lot.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
All right, so let's get back to your NFL here. What do you got on the NFL here?
Oh, I did the same thing as usual in AM PM. I went all totals in the AM. I went Baltimore, Detroit over 51 and Tennessee, Indianapolis over 48. It's a small parlay. It's 10 to win 27. The offense for Detroit, even though they're going to, it's Jared Goff. We know his history with the Rams. He actually looked decent against the 49ers when he had to throw the ball. They didn't look terrible. They looked, they played the Packers like I thought they were going to play the Packers.
They looked good in the first half. They actually cost me money because I had Green Bay winning both halves of that. They won the first half.
And I think 51, the Ravens put up 37 last week. If you look at it this way, right? If the Ravens can put up 27 and Detroit can put up 24, or 25 rather, you're going to win that game. The question is Detroit going to be able to put up that much against the Baltimore defense?
Well, and Swift is questionable with a hamstring, so that could, who knows? I mean, you saw what happened to McCaffrey last night. Who knows where that goes? And then Lamar's fighting an illness right now. So, yeah. I mean, if my worry about that is him fighting an illness. If they're up 30-0, which I don't think they go up 30-0, but if something like that happens, they pull him because he's sick. Now you're looking at not a lot of points. So I do like your thought process. I like your, but when you look at the other things of, man, if they pull him now, if you don't think that in depth like I am, and you just say it's Lamar Jackson and Drew Stafford can get a touchdown or two and Lamar is going to get 34, then you're locked and you're a money. If you overthink things like I tend to do, then maybe you're not.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I didn't put a whole heck of a lot of money on it either, because when I started thinking about it after, I was like, yeah, Baltimore, Detroit, that seems automatic. But then you make a great point. If you're relying on Baltimore to get all these points, then what's the chances it's 52-0? Not really that great. These are pros, man. They know how to play the game. So on the other side, I got Tennessee and Indianapolis, and I really like how Tennessee played last week. I was surprised. I thought they were going to go up there and lose. They went to Seattle and won in overtime. The only thing that scares me is Indianapolis right now. Like who's going to throw the ball there? But for me personally, and this might be a strategy point, I don't like betting unders. I find it more fun to root for points than root for defense. And so if I can find two teams that I think might play a 27-24 game, I'm going to go for it. And that's what I see in Tennessee and Indianapolis. I could totally see Tennessee putting 30 up easily. Now can Indianapolis get to 21? If they can do that, I'm in good shape.
Man, I don't like it when I have to call you, but Tennessee's a run team. A run team. I mean, they put up points last week, but they're a run team, and they're going to run against Indy. And look, like you said, who the hell sprains both their ankles? I mean, give me a fucking break. Who sprains both their ankles? For Christ's sake. I've never heard, like, hey, I got two sprained ankles. I've never heard that. I mean, and I've been around sports my whole life, and I've never heard somebody say, I've sprained both my ankles. Like, what? So I almost call bullshit on that. I think Eason plays, and I think Wentz doesn't, and that's where I worry about I mean, when you're talking about running the ball, they're going to run the ball with Derrick Henry, and then you got Jacob Eason, who's probably going to be the one slinging the ball, and they're going to have to try to. Tennessee's going to eat up clock with Henry running the ball, and then they're going to have to sling it, and he's going to throw picks, and I don't see your over coming. Man, I hate to say that, but I don't like seeing your over coming.
Do you think the Wentz experiment is over?
I don't think it can be because with Eason behind him. I mean, I know they elevated Huntley to the practice squad, but who they have behind him, how can it be? The only thing I think, Cam Newton.
Oh,
Cam Newton's out there. I think he's better than any of the other quarterbacks they have.
That's a great point you bring up there. I just, man, I don't know what first off, I thought that Rivers was going to come back this year. I was surprised that he retired. You know, me and Rivers, we have a love-hate relationship, but I thought he was going to come back. But yeah, man, it's like so you hit your wagon to Carson Wentz, who's not, man, the last few years, he's not been great. I mean, he got benched last year. He got benched the year before that. Well,
and you look at both of these games in your parlay here, Indy and Detroit are both ran by quarterbacks who had one good year.
True. That's true. You're making me rethink this, but
sorry, BS.
I'm gonna be stubborn. I'm gonna stick it out and see what happens.
Get it. All right, go hit me with your PM one.
Well, I'll say this, man. If I lose my morning one, I've got my afternoon one going. I've got the Vegas Raiders at -3.5 and Tampa Bay -1. $20 to win 52 there. Man, that Tampa Bay game, I think Tom Brady, like, I thought he was washed up. I thought he was done. You know, I never liked him. And what he did last year was unbelievable. And I think that I'm at the point now where I'm just not going to bet against Tom Brady ever. And if I go 12-4 with that, then I go 12-4 with that. With Vegas, if Jacobs doesn't play, the running game is junk. It was junk last week. However, they did get timely good runs from Peyton Barber on the last drive of the game to that leading up to that field goal. They got a couple of really important first downs. Derek Carr is throwing the ball extremely well. Last week was very balanced. I think he threw to 8 or 9 different receivers. He looks amazing right now. And I don't see Vegas blowing out Miami. I see this as like a 24-20 game. I think Vegas scores enough points and the defense bends but doesn't break enough to keep it like a 1-score game. But I think Vegas gets the upper hand here. And that's what that's going to do, man, is that's going to cancel out my morning loss if that's what happens and still make me a winner.
Hey, and I've already talked about Vegas, and I actually think Kenyon Drake, you're taking him out of look at the amazing things he did for Arizona. Like I think Drake can come in and make a difference for Vegas, especially if they plan on utilizing him more. Mm-hmm. My thing with Tampa, and I already talked about the Rams, but look, bottom line, Tampa Bay is not going undefeated. I don't care what you say; they are not going undefeated, especially 100%. In the next game especially the next game this year. So, who's a team that can beat them? And I think it's the Rams, and that's why I'm taking the Rams. Now, they are making their way through that division. Arizona could be a team in that division if Arizona keeps going that they are that could beat them. But I really think it's the Rams. I really do, and maybe even Seattle. But I think the Rams are the ones that could beat them. That's why I went Rams over Tampa Bay. But it's so close. I mean, it's a 1-point spread. I mean, we both could be, we're both sitting here basically doing the same thing Vegas is. Vegas doesn't know. They don't know, and they usually have a good idea.
Yeah, I'll tell you one team that's not beating Tampa Bay this year is New Orleans because Jameis Winston is garbage. That guy, that honeymoon is done.
But the media's going to play that up so big.
Oh, the first week he looked amazing, and the second week it was, yep, this is the Jameis that we know and love right here, this hunk of junk. So, but you're right. I mean, the chances are that a team is going to go 17-0 is like slim, none, and fat, and slim and fat have left the building. So you're right. You're playing the odds here. It's, you know what? This is like the game that I'm really looking for. And usually I don't like watching the Rams. They're boring to me. I'm looking forward to watching this game.
Yeah, to me, this is the game of the week.
All right, tease me, buddy. What do you got on your teaser? I saw you have like kind of a mixed bag here.
Yeah, I got a mixed bag, and I went big. I was throwing a home. I was swinging for the fence here. And once again, a teaser is just like a parlay where you put multiple bets together, try to get them to hit, but you can bend the line in your favor. Okay, and you can bet like we do the traditional 6. Excuse me, but you can do 7, 8 points if you want. You can move it as much as you want. The more points you give yourself in your favor, the less odds you get. Okay, so that's what's happening. So it's almost like I'm a little scared of that line, or I'm a little scared of that game, but I'm going to make it more beneficial by myself by teasing it and making it better. So, like my first one, I got a couple of college games in here. I got Iowa over Colorado State. The original line is 23. I'm teasing that down to 17. That's 3 touchdowns and a field goal compared to 2 touchdowns and a field goal. And I'd rather 2 touchdowns and a field goal to worry about there. So that's why I teased it down. I have UB. They're playing Old Dominion, and they're favored by 13. But UB isn't the UB of last year, but I still think they win this game. I think a touchdown is way more favorable than 2, so I'm going to take that. Tennessee, we already talked about that game. I'm going to tease them up and take them +1. New England, guys, New England scares me. I don't think they can beat Buffalo. I don't think they can win the division, but they are scary good. Their defense is good, and we've talked about Jameis Winston. You went a little far for me in saying he's a fraud. I don't want to say he's a fraud. I think he's a decent quarterback, but I think I think Belichick is too good of a coach for Winston to beat, is what I really think it boils down to. And they have a decent quarterback. Yes, the Saints D is amazing. I think it's Belichick versus Sean Payton, and Belichick wins that 9 out of 10 times. I think it's the same thing. I don't care that it's not Breeze versus Brady, and it's Jones versus Winston. I still, it's coach versus coach is how I look at this game.
Okay.
Chargers, we've already talked about. They have a chance to beat KC. Whether they do or not, but if I can get almost 2 touchdowns, I'm gonna take 2 touchdowns. Chicago, Fields is getting the start. Freaking Nagy is an idiot. Now I'm never starting a starter, and I understand Dalton got hurt. But I think that was just his excuse to finally get Fields in, even though what happened last week, I still think this is his excuse to get in. Cleveland's playing with a hurt Baker. It's not his throwing shoulder. It is his shoulder, though, with that tackle he tried to make last week. So I think Chicago actually has a good shot to win this game. They are 7-0-2 against the spread against the AFC North. So I think that, yes, ODB comes back, but I think they don't have anything on Fields. They don't have film. I understand. I'm not a big Fields fan, especially when he got lit up against Buffalo, but I think Chicago has a good chance to win this. Cincinnati, we already talked about, so I'm going to tease them up and take +9. Why not? And Green Bay, we already talked about. They're underdogs. I'm going to get plus another touchdown. I'm going to get +9. My $20 is going to give me $260 when this hits.
Man, I love 2 things about this here. One, I love that you're going big on it. I really do. The other thing that I like is that you have two college games and you have 6 pro games. And here's what I like about this. You're betting $20 to win $260. However, if something goes sideways on Saturday, you could take $20 out of your bank, rebet the pro games on Sunday, and still manage to offset your loss if that happens. So that's a great strategy that some people take advantage of. I know I've taken advantage of it before. If I split my parlays, say, or split my games into AM and PM, and the AM games go to crap, I just take my bankroll and roll it over to the PM games again, because I feel that strongly about the PM games. So this is really good strategy that you're showing us here. And you got to love the risk reward here. $20 to win $260. You're getting 2 double-digit points with the Chargers and the Bears. You're getting 2 almost there with Cincinnati and Green Bay. I like this, man. I think you're gonna have some fun with it.
Oh God, I hope so. So it looks like you're doing an all college teaser here. All right, getting your Saturday game going.
I did, man. I did all Saturday. I did one all Saturday. I'm taking Northwestern +8, Utah -9. I'm taking UCLA and Stanford over 53.5. Florida Atlantic +10 against the Air Force, and USC -4.5 against Oregon State. That $20 is going to win me 84. I really like what Northwestern does, and they're playing Ohio this week. Northwestern's favored by 14.5, or based on 14. I'm going to take that down to 8 just in case. Northwestern's offense is not that dynamic. I could see them winning this game by 10 or 11, so not covering the regular spread, but covering the teaser spread. And that's one of the reasons why I did that. Utah is playing Washington State. Last year when these 2 teams played, it was such a Jekyll and Hyde game. Utah got up big, then Washington State came back. But this year, Washington State is not playing that great. So I think Utah, once again, they're favored by 15. I don't know if they cover the 15. 9, I like my chances. So, and then UCLA, I'm just going to keep betting overs with them until I get screwed. With Chip Kelly, I'm just going over. So there you go.
And look, I love this. The only thing that worries me is USC. Look, last week we didn't know what to think about them. They were going to have a new coach. Well, how they going to look? They came out and they looked strong. True. But that was the first week with a new coach. Now it's instead of, yay, new coach, woohoo. All right, it's week 2. Now we're back to normal. This is what it is. And that so I like your strategy of teasing it, making it more in your favor. having them minus 10.5 to minus 4.5. I just worry if they. I think they could still win this game. I did look at that game and I almost put it in there and I go, oh. I'm going to stay away from that game just because of that factor. But I think teasing it is the correct thing to do if you're going to do anything.
Yeah, and it's Oregon State who's not that great, and so I think they have that in my favor too. If it was somebody else, if it was like Oregon or Washington, I would have definitely stayed away from this game.
Oh, Jesus. If it was Oregon or Washington, you'd be teasing the other way.
For sure.
All right, what you do for you? It looks like your teaser is all AM, huh?
Yep. In the morning, I got Arizona minus 1.5, Tennessee +1, Buffalo -1, New England +3, and Cleveland -1. So I'm going against you on the Cleveland game. But that's a case
But we could still both win.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. If Cleveland wins by, say, 5, we're both winners on that game, which is really cool. And that's the advantage of a teaser, right? Is it's not just -7 +7. It's, hey, I'm going to take 6 in my favor. You take 6 in your favor, and we can meet in the middle and still both win.
Well, and I think that game, and we've talked about all these games already. That game with Justin Fields starting, I think even with a hurt Baker, they win. Mm-hmm. I think what happens is because Baker's hurt, they pull him early after they have a big lead, and Justin Fields wins against second string. Not wins the game, but he wins as far as putting it. So Baker goes out and it's 31-7 or something like that, and he scores 2 or 3 touchdowns, almost like Stafford used to do with Detroit. He gets those backdoor touchdowns, comes back, and they lose by a touchdown. You win, Chicago loses by a touchdown. You win, I win. We're both going to the window.
And we're both happy, right? I love it. All right. I think we have a couple of prop bets in here this week, Kaus, and yours is very interesting. I like it a lot.
So last week we added prop bets. We started talking about prop bets. Prop bets are, you can bet anything you want. How many yards are you going to get? How many TDs are you going to get? How many points is one team going to score? Stuff like that. So that's what a prop bet is. Like everything else we've talked about so far is over under for the full game, win or loss, teasing up and down. So this is just prop bets are something random other than just the game winning or losing or the spread or anything like that. So my prop bet is Jacoby Brissett. I'm going to hammer this dude. When he was in Indy and he was starting, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this dude. And then I started watching him like, yeah, he ain't very good. Mm-hmm. So I've already talked about, Vegas' defense. They're on fire. They got a new. You talked about that earlier about how they have their new defensive coordinator, and he's been insane for them. And I love, Carr leads the league in passing yards, but I don't think he doesn't do that without that defense. If he doesn't have that defense, they don't do that. And so I think Miami going to Vegas with that defense, I think it runs away. So I'm going to go ahead on my prop and take Jacoby Brissett under 227.5 yards passing. And my $12 is going to win me 10. Let me say that again. My $12 is going to win me 10, meaning Vegas thinks the same way I do. Look, I told you already he's 11-19. His QB rating and passing percentage yards during his 5 seasons are terrible. The under in Vegas has hit every single game since they've been there. Mm-hmm. So putting an under in there, telling me that Vegas is going to score more points. Brissett ain't going to throw the ball all that often. Buffalo also gave Vegas' great defense because Jacoby Brissett they gave him a recipe because last week Brissett played all but 4 downs. Mm-hmm. Buffalo put 2 on his back twice out of 3 in the first round. First down on the next play, they took 2 out. So Brissett under, I think that's a lock.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas has UNLV. Oh boy, Vegas has the 12th best defense the 11th best defense in the league this year. That is unheard of. Carr has never had a great defense, and the things that Carr has done with that crap sack of a defense in the past 8 years has been incredible. They're 16th against the pass. I just don't see how Brissett gets it done this week. I really don't. They're going to have to run the football to get anything going. I just think this goes under. Roethlisberger threw for 295 last week, but it's Roethlisberger, right? He has a little bit, just a little bit of street cred. So,
and he's definitely light years better than Brissett. Hey, quick, 100%. You just said UNLV, so that made me think of the Fresno State game. Fresno State is now up 29-27.
Jeez.
They were down 21-9. Anyway, so your prop bet. What do you got on your prop bet?
I'm going back to the LA Tampa Bay game, and I think Brady gets over 2.5 passing touchdowns against that vaunted Rams secondary. And my $10 is going to win 12. I think Gronk is good for at least one. I think Evans is good for one. And I could see a little swing pass out of the backfield being good for another one. So I think this is a good bet for me. I'm getting a little bit of plus money here, which is nice. So $10 to win 12. All Brady has to do is throw 3 touchdowns.
Dude,
who's going to cover Gronk? I can't believe he's still performing.
I agree. That combo is amazing. Best of all time. However, Aaron Donald is all I can say. I don't. TB12 does not do well when he is under pressure. And they're going to have pressure up his ass all day long. And I think to combat that, Arians and Leftwich are going to say, hand the ball off. Hand the ball off. Hand the ball off. And so that's the only thing I worry about him throwing for 2.5, over 2.5, so at least 3 touchdowns. That's my only worry is I think it's going to be boop, 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 because Aaron Donald is going to be up Brady's ass all day. And I almost think that McVay and his staff come in and go, dude, we don't care. Donald, we don't care what you do against the run. Brady loses when he's pressured. Don't worry about the run, Donald. We'll have our linebackers where we'll have the rest of the D-line. All you do is put Brady on his back all day long. And if that happens, Tampa Bay loses that game. And I don't care. So Tampa Bay sees that coming and they throw the run at him. I think that happens.
I mean, that's a great point. I look at this game as being like, regardless of Aaron Donald and regardless of Jalen Ramsey, I see this game kind of going in a last team to have the ball wins the ball game type of situation. I see this really like a 31-28 score. I'm just not really sure who's going to cover Gronkowski down the middle. And if he gets 2 and gets loose like he did last week, all I need is one more, and I'll take my chances.
But Brady has to have time to get it to him. And that's what I think is going to struggle there.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I don't know. I guess it's
like I said, I always hope the best for you, brother. I don't see it there. So
yeah, I guess we'll find out. I don't know.
All right, brother. Well, as always, it was a blast. I love doing this. This is my favorite thing. Guys, like us, share us, spread the word, get it out. We love doing this. We want to do it more for you, so get the word out. But that is the conclusion of our Week 3 edition. God, I have so much fun. BS, I love you.
Love you, brother. So Brady ends up on his back, and that's how I have to leave this pod tonight. Okay. I will.
You're welcome.
I will take my lumps with that. I hope you're incorrect, but the good thing about this, Cowles, and this is one more thing about the strategy. If you look at some of the bets that we made, we got a couple of big potential big winners here. We got a couple of small things here that maybe we're not so confident in, but we just have a good feeling we're getting some value out of it. And you know what, man? If we can come out on the plus side of this, that's really good for us. That's a really good weekend. If I don't have to go to the ATM again, that's really good. And so that's what I'm looking forward to, man.
Sorry, I got a little overflow out of my beat. I agree 100%. And, this is all fun. We can argue all day long, and I can tell you you're wrong, and you can tell me I'm right. But in the end, we still love each other. So
that's right.
That's what brothers do. So, once again, we don't guarantee anything. take our picks, run them. People, I actually have gotten a couple of texts on, hey, what do you think on this? What do you think on that? Guys, feel free to shoot us an instant message, to ask us. We do have our all of the socials. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We have our email. Where this is on YouTube, you can have the audio there. Please like us, please share us, please get the word out. We love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, listening, however you do it. We appreciate you guys more than you will ever know. Thank you guys. BS, love you, brother. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Take Vegas for what it's worth.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.